Act Like a Leader, Think Like a Leader by Herminia Ibarra. Usually, when we talk about personal growth or change, we tend to emphasize introspection and self-awareness. Individuals must reflect on their shortcomings and commit to making changes. This logic focuses on internal change. However, this approach is fatal because introspection often relies on past experiences to address present or future issues. How can you ensure that the answers derived from introspection will effectively address real-world problems? Using introspection as the starting point for change may be limiting. Instead, the author suggests that the way to enhance leadership is to embrace a model known as the hero's journey. In this model, heroes typically start in an ordinary world, living daily like everyone else. Then, they receive a call to action, a mission they may initially resist but ultimately accept. They venture into an unknown and risky external world, encountering mentors, allies, tests, and adversaries. After several trials and tribulations, they eventually obtain the treasure they sought and resolve their questions and doubts. The hero's life enters a new phase. The hero's journey is a structure that is found in countless myths, stories, and even Hollywood films such as The Journey to the West, Avatar, and Kung Fu Panda. Because it aligns with humanity's long-standing observations, extraordinary individuals have historically gone through this process. So, the relevance of this model to our topic is that if an ordinary person wants to become a hero, they must go through their own hero's journey. Leadership doesn't come from internal reflection within the confines of your home or office. It requires you to experience the world anew, seeking to enhance your leadership qualities through these experiences. In other words, it's an outside-to-inside process. The philosophy of leadership that goes from the outside to the inside is the fundamental theory of the book Leaders Eat Last. The author of this book, Simon Sinek, provides the core idea: you need to start acting like a leader first, and through this process, your behavior patterns and mindset will naturally change, ultimately leading to an improvement in your leadership skills. As Aristotle put it, a man is what he does. In the same way, you must first behave like a leader to truly become one. In this process, there are 3 fundamental transformations that you must undergo. 1. Breaking free from the competency trap. Redefining your job content. You need to redefine your role and responsibilities and transform your actions to align with those of a leader. 2. Breaking free from the relationship trap. Redefining your network of relationships. You must reevaluate and potentially transform your interpersonal relationships and networks to align with your leadership aspirations. 3. Breaking free from the authenticity trap. Redefining your inner self. You need to revisit and reshape your sense of self and authenticity, ensuring it aligns with the leader you aspire to become. Think of these 3 traps as the challenges or levels in your hero's journey on your path to becoming an exceptional leader. In each of these sections, you will continually evolve and transform. Let's begin with the first part. The first challenge you'll face is the competency trap. What is the competency trap? It means that people often need help doing what they are best at. Doing what you excel at can be very rewarding, especially if it is vital to your past successes. However, this can lead you to overlook more important aspects. The book provides an example of Jacob, a production manager in a European food company that an investor acquired to expand production. Despite no change in his title, Jacob managed his usual way, handling every production detail. He believed that his micromanagement style was the reason for his past success. However, the result was that by the end of the year, everyone was complaining about him. His subordinates wanted more autonomy, and the company's management expected him to enhance cooperation with other departments and expedite production line upgrades. Jacob exemplifies the classic case of falling into the competency trap. He should have recognized that his usual methods that led to past successes were no longer effective after the factory expansion. The variabilities that brought him to his current position might hinder his further development, which is the deceptive aspect of the competency trap. So, how do you break free from the competency trap? You need to make efforts in 4 areas. 1. Create blank space in your schedule. Remember to fill your calendar with mundane tasks, including low-value meetings and travel. Provide strategic guidance to your subordinates rather than always being on the front lines. Find someone to be your assistant or delegate management pressures to a few key employees. By doing so, you can have a chance to escape the vicious cycle of the competency trap. 2. Become a bridge. Instead of being a central, axis-type leader like Jacob, who keeps the entire department revolving around himself, be a bridge. Your role as a bridge means connecting your team to the external world. Ensure your team receives the latest information and necessary support, and promote your team's achievements externally, enhancing their motivation. When facing criticism, work to gain approval from higher-ups for your team's actions. Effective external communication is far more valuable than dealing with day-to-day minutiae. 3. Cultivate foresight. While regular employees might often complain about workplace issues, an exceptional leader should be able to look into the future. Your vision should come from perceiving your surroundings and absorbing new information from the outside world, including understanding your industry's bigger picture, awareness of new technologies, and recognizing emerging trends. Attend cross-industry events, participate in projects beyond your expertise, and learn what people from different areas are doing and thinking. You need to expose yourself to things you didn't know before. With this broader perspective, you can identify new opportunities and threats. 4. Drive change. After generating visionary ideas, you must put them into practice and persuade people to support them. Many believe a good idea will naturally dominate, but the reality often involves staunch opposition and most neutral people. You must respond effectively to critics, addressing their concerns while convincing them to understand and support your vision. Small successes can help build confidence, making people more willing to back you. Finally, you must disseminate your ideas within the organization, forming long-term management mechanisms. In the next part, we need to address how to find a group of people to assist you in your journey. Before seeing this group, you'll need to face a new challenge known as the relationship trap. This trap involves many people's resistance towards deliberately building relationships, seeing it as insincere or not worth the effort. Those who fall into this trap often passively let relationships develop and accept them as they come, usually sticking to people who are very similar to themselves. This results in a limited, narrow, and imbalanced network. The symptoms of this imbalance include narcissism and laziness. 1. Narcissism. People tend to form relationships with those who are similar to themselves in some way, often those with similar abilities, resources, or views. 2. Laziness. People tend to build relationships with those who are physically close or whom they naturally encounter. They need to seek diverse connections actively. These tendencies are limiting because your network will need more diversity to provide you with fresh insights and complementary resources. Such networks can become restrictive cages, which restrict your leadership capabilities and weaken others' confidence in following you. When assessing someone as a leader, people look at more than just what they've done, but also who they are connected to. Therefore, to be perceived as a leader, you must break out of the relationship trap and redefine your network of relationships. Your network should be diverse, wide-ranging, and multi-layered. It's about adding more network nodes, including people from various backgrounds and professions. With such a network, you can achieve cross-domain cooperation, create more value, prevent groupthink, generate groundbreaking ideas, and mitigate risks. To revitalize your network, you can consider these 3 approaches. 1. Leverage existing relationships. The 6 degrees of separation theory suggests that connecting with anyone through a chain of 6 personal connections is possible. While connecting with someone directly through 6 degrees might be impractical, you can strive to connect with someone through 2 or 3 degrees, which involves making friends with friends and making them a direct part of your network. 2. Active participation in events. When attending events, don't stay in the corner but seize the opportunity to present or host a session. Engaging actively at events leads to more robust connections than being a passive observer. 3. Build your social platforms. Create social media accounts, groups, or communities that enable you to interact with a broad audience and establish a leadership position through your voice. One example mentioned in the book is Sheryl Sandberg, known not just because she is the chief operating officer of Facebook, but also because she amplifies her influence through public speaking and writing. In particular, she is recognized for the Lean In movement, which she initiated. To proceed through this part of your journey and escape the relationship trap, you should diversify your network and actively dedicate effort to building a high-quality network. You have experienced various challenges in this journey, and your external appearance is becoming more convincing as a true leader. With these experiences, you will undergo significant introspection and transformation in the following stages of your journey. In the third part, we'll discuss the step of reflection. Why is reflecting at this stage different from starting your reflection locked in your office? The difference is significant. This step becomes more effective because you've already taken action in the first two parts of your journey, and the reflection is no longer just theoretical or hypothetical. It's not mere speculation anymore, it's informed by real-world experience. It's similar to the plot in a hero's journey story where the protagonist faces inner conflict and begins to rethink fundamental questions. Who am I? What kind of leader do I want to be? At this point, you need to be cautious about the authenticity trap. This trap occurs when we rigidly believe that a specific label represents our true self. If we deviate from this label, we may feel we're not being ourselves, denying other possibilities. The author, Isabella, experienced this trap when she started teaching at Harvard University. She initially tried to maintain a severe and conventional teaching style. Still, her students found her classes dull compared to more experienced professors who made their classes engaging and entertaining. Isabella felt she couldn't embrace the unconventional teaching style and must stick to her original image to be authentic. However, she realized that this fixed view was limiting her impact on students and needed to escape the authenticity trap. She began experimenting with different teaching methods, including using humor, interacting more with her students, and even eating food they brought to class. Over time, her classes improved significantly, and students responded positively. The question to ask is, which teaching style reflected Isabella's true self? Does it matter whether her true self is fixed, or can it evolve as she adapts and learns? For a leader, the authenticity challenge might involve wanting to maintain a previous image as a friendly and approachable team member after being promoted to a managerial role. This could lead to hesitance in issuing commands or reluctance to engage in leadership behaviors. A fear of not being authentic drives such an attitude. However, an emerging leader needs to discard these self-imposed constraints. Like Isabella, you must be open to different directions and try new approaches to enrich yourself. The book offers 3 suggestions for expanding yourself. 1. Shift from performance goals to learning goals. Instead of obsessing over your current perception, focus on what you're learning and evolving. This shift from performance-oriented thinking to learning-oriented thinking allows for continuous improvement. 2. Become a skillful imitator. Find role models among leaders you know. Observe and identify their positive qualities and emulate them. Please don't feel ashamed to mimic their behaviors. All leaders have learned from imitating others. 3. Use stories to reshape your self-image. You need to create your leadership story, a narrative that reflects your best leadership practices. You can use this story to build connections and redefine your self-image. The book argues that leadership development should follow an outside-in approach, with action leading to reflection and internalization. Your external performance should be based on actively creating value and expanding your network. Then, you should reflect on your experiences and work on internalizing your leadership identity. These 3 steps form a continuous loop that supports your growth as a leader.